Unless we ask ourselves whether each commitment is truly worth a portion of our time. When we try to fit everything in, we may fill our days with more activities that we may not value.
Hey everyone, this is Aaron and Juwan, and you're listening to Wellness for Real People. This show is for people who are on the go, busy, and looking for ways to live their best lives. We focus on wellness topics in mindfulness, exercise, diet, and sleep, and share quick actionable tactics to improve your health and wellness. We're not perfect, but we're trying to get a little better each day. Let's grow on this journey together. Today we discuss toward a realistic approach to mindfulness and time management, an article by Dr. Roberto Benzo, published on the Mayo Clinic blog. Juwan and I share highlights from the article and talk about some stories that relate to the topics that were shared in the article. Let's get into the show. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wellness for Real People. Juwan and Aaron here today, and we're talking about an article that we read from the Mayo Clinic, and it's about how do you take a realistic approach to mindfulness and time management. Really thought this article was timely and sensitive because, more than ever these days, we struggle with trying to fit everything in. And the article, just to give you a quick summary, really talks about taking a more of a conscious approach to the decisions that we make from a day-to-day standpoint, and not trying to do everything from a fear of missing out or thinking that we can do everything. It's all about making conscious choices to protect your mental health and practice mindfulness, and kind of day-to-day, what's the most important things and activities that we should be doing that are going to contribute to what we really want out of life. And so it's kind of taking an approach of, taking a confrontation against trying to be busy, trying to stay on top of everything, and really just, at times sitting and doing nothing and just reflecting on what's going on, because productivity isn't from just hurrying up and going through the motions. And then the article kind of caps off by talking about one of the core practices is simplicity. And it comes from focusing only on the things that matter to you, the things that require work, that is. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Juwan to kind of kick off the discussion, and he has got some questions and some reflections as well too. So Juwan, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. I agree. It was a great article. Really quick read. We'll put the link in the show notes so that you can read it for yourself. But I found the article to be really, really helpful, and I pulled out a couple of several quotes that I wanted to kind of share and discuss with you today. So the first one says, "The more we believe that we might succeed in fitting everything in, the less we ask ourselves whether each commitment is truly worth a portion of our time. When we try to fit everything in, we may fill our days with more activities that we may not value." And I think you spoke to that at the onset of the episode, but I thought that was really, really important. This idea of like trying to succeed in fitting everything in, and really, is that really what we want to do? Like, is everything equally important? Do we really want to do everything? And so I
Yeah.
think it's an important question to kind of ponder.
Yeah. And I think about just in terms of, protecting your own time as well, too, because I think, oftentimes we kind of leave our activities open to the mercy of work and whoever else, from an external factor to dominate our time and tell us kind of what we need to do and set the direction. And that can have us going in a lot of different ways and doing things that we're not even thinking about doing. We're just going through the motions. And before we know it, we don't have any time to take care of ourselves. So I think, when we think about mindfulness 101, it's just paying attention to that and realizing it. It's something that I've seen like in my work life when I looked at my calendar, certain weeks where I was just like bouncing from meeting to meeting and not really knowing what the goal was from these meetings or what I was trying to accomplish or what the person was trying to accomplish with me. And before I knew it, I was pushing my days further out to get to the activities that mattered, and those things suffered. And as a result, performance suffered, my mental health suffered. So when I think about it, it's like, man, it's just so important to really focus on the few things that matter and not trying to be at everyone's service and conquer every single problem. And something that's, helped me to calm down and kind of manage my stress level is to think about that on a day-to-day basis and what I'm doing and trying to be more conscious about managing my time.
That's great. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. As you were speaking, it brought up this idea that that I've been thinking about. Like, everybody has an agenda for your day.
Mhm.
Moment we wake up, right? Sometimes that's family, and that's really, really important. The media, right? The whatever the headlines are for the day, that's kind of what they want you to tune into.
Yep.
And and at work as well, right? And in our community and other commitments that we may have. And so I think it's really, really important to recognize that. It's not a bad thing, but like you said, being mindful of what is your agenda for the day, what is most important to you, what would you like to get accomplished, right? And protecting that, making space for that, so that you can maintain some bit of sanity, as we go throughout the day. So I love that. The next quote that I pulled from the article was this quote here that says, "When we make the conscious decision to use a part of our time on anything, we are purposely not doing other things." And I thought that was really great. It reminded me way, 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 way back in the day when I was in economics class, and I used to talk about the opportunity cost.
Mhm.
And so this idea of, nothing is free, and so when we decide to devote time and energy to one thing, that's time and energy away from something else. And so it's important, like you said, in the idea of mindfulness, to be aware of where we put our time and energy, not just because it doesn't just impact what we're doing in this moment, but it impacts other things that we could be doing or that may be even more important down the line. So I wanted to bring that up as well.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with that. I think it's, something that takes active practice to really get good at seeing that. And it's hard when you're so busy and in the moment and you want, and it depends on your personality too, right? If like at my core, I'm like more of a people pleaser and trying to, satisfy everybody and everything that they need. And at the mercy of my own health is what tends to happen, right? Spending less time working out, eating poorly or quickly just so you could get to the next activity, right? It's like you said, I, did this thing, but then that cost, what was that like? So that cost was my actual physical health, right? My mental health and really my, overall focus on what I want to get out of my life. It's just these little micro moments that just add up over time. And before you know it, 10 years have passed by and you're like, what happened? Like what happened those last 10 years? And so yeah, man, I totally agree. It's like there's a cost to everything. And it's not always like a financial cost, right? It could be time, health, and your own your own sanity. So something that I saw as well.
Yeah, yeah. The next thing I want to talk about here was this idea of the author said, what's important is not always pleasant. And that kind of hit me to the core. This idea that there's things that are maybe urgent, and there's things that may be important, and there's things that are not important. But those important things aren't always the happy things that need to be done. And so sometimes when they're not the most pleasant things, sometimes we don't necessarily want to do them,
Mhm.
but they're really, really important. They have by nature, by that definition, they have a large consequence, whether it's immediate or later on down the line. And so, I think being aware of that and not avoiding the things that are unpleasant. Sometimes, like, I don't necessarily want to have those difficult conversations or deal with confrontation, or sometimes it's just as simple as, I it's important to maintain my physical health, but I don't want to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to get up and go to the gym. It's very unpleasant to want to do that, but it's really, really important. It's something that, a goal that I set for myself and for this year. And so being able to understand that, realize it, and then just get over it, and do what needs to be done is something that I'm constantly trying to work on, and just deal with the unpleasantness so I can get hopefully the positive results that I'm looking for.
That's awesome, man. One of the things that I really, took from this article, just to kind of sum up my thoughts on it, was really the section where they talk about focusing on the few really important things to build the most meaningful life that we can.
Mm,
And that made me think about a lot of like, what am I doing on a day-to-day basis? Like, why did I choose this path, or why did I make these decisions? And, what am I going to do to reshape that, to have more meaning in my life and not just go with the motions. And so I thought, something that I'll reflect on after this article that really stood out is, what are those few things that are really meaningful that I need to do day to day, and scheduling them so that it doesn't get missed, like you said.
mm,
So it might be unpleasant, but I need to work out. Got to get up early and do that, because that's going to result in a longer, more happy life, less stress, and give me the energy to do more of the things that I need to do. So it's like, okay, you need to do that. And so that needs to be on the schedule as one of the first things that happens in your day, not something that you get to if you have time, because you'll never get to it. So,
mhm,
yeah.
mhm. Yeah, man. It's really simple kind of concept in this article, but I thought it's really powerful. And yeah, I definitely got a lot of work to do. The last the quote that I want to share, and this is how the author really summed things up, is he said, how is your practice of simplifying and choosing what to focus on? And I thought that was a really poignant question, kind of piggybacking on what you just shared. Um, but just taking time even on a daily basis, being mindful, kind of evaluating how I spent my time today. Did I get the things that were done, most important done? Was I really distracted and busy and all over the place today? Just taking a few seconds to, just like you mentioned at the beginning, to stop, do nothing, and just reflect, right, on how the day went, how the week went, how the month is going. And hopefully by being conscious of that, being mindful of that, I can make better decisions, moving.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up. Again, like I said, we'll share the link to this specific article in the show notes. But we hope you found this useful, and we'll see you again on the next episode.
All right. Thanks, everybody.